In 2024, it is not uncommon to see African American women holding a lot of power in cities across America, in particular black cities, especially big cities or suburbs of big cities. If we look at Detroit, if we look at Chicago, if we look at Atlanta, we will all see black women with a lot of authority. Let's start in Atlanta. We all know about Fannie Willis. Well, what about Chicago? In a suburb called Dolton, Illinois, there is Tiffany Henyard. And in Detroit, plenty of black women doing well in Detroit. In a suburb of Detroit called East Point, Michigan, we have Monique Owens. But then in the city of New Orleans, we have yet another mayor that we don't really talk about so much in black YouTube. Her name is Latoya Cantrell. Now, Latoya Cantrell was born and raised in California, but went to college in New Orleans and decided to stay, become the mayor of one of the nation's greatest cities. Unfortunately for her, she has a lot in common with the other ladies that were aforementioned. She tends to be rude, unliked by the city, does whatever she wants, and of course, there is a level of corruption. Rewind, Nemo! You see, all of this started about a year ago, or even before, when she was married still to her husband, and that's important. But at the same time, as she was married to her husband, she started having somewhat of a suspected affair, allegedly, with New Orleans police officer Jeffrey Vappie. Now, this news clip is going to express all of it.
Good afternoon, I'm Lauren McCoy.
And I'm Liz Reyes. Well, new at this hour, a new court filing accuses the mayor of New Orleans of having an extramarital affair with a former member of her security team.
And the filing raises more questions about her use of taxpayer time and money following Lee Zurich's series of outside the office investigations. The wife of NOPD officer Jeffrey Vappie filed an amended divorce petition this month, claiming in November of last year she became aware of an inappropriate relationship between Vappie and who she refers to as Mrs. LC. And a source says that Mrs. LC is New Orleans Mayor Latoya Cantrell. And the filing alleges Officer Vappie has been in an ongoing sexual relationship with Cantrell since May of 2021. And that's the same month Vappie joined her executive protection team.
The filing goes on to claim that Cantrell and Vappie engaged in a sexual relationship and lists specific dates. Most of those dates were detailed in a series of our outside the office reports, which showed Cantrell and Vappie spending long hours during the workday at a city-owned apartment. In the filing, Vappie's wife says her husband confirmed to her that he was involved in an adulterous affair with Mrs. L.C., who again, a source confirms, is Mayor Latoya Cantrell.
Yep, it seems like this particular news clip shows the mayor and this police officer going in and out of an apartment. Booty clapping sounds? Yeah, I know it's suspicious, but we don't really know, right? Well, it's so suspicious that the cop's wife divorced him because of that footage. But she did this while she was married. Then her husband passed away, unfortunately. Let's check out that clip.
Thanks for watching. I'm Katie Moore. Charisse is off tonight. We begin tonight with the sad and sudden news that Mayor Latoya Cantrell's husband, Jason, has died. News of his death was followed by a string of tributes and condolences. And amid the outpouring of concern, Mike Pearlstein spoke with one person who knew Jason as a close personal friend.
Jason was one of those carefree, fun-loving, jovial kind of people.
While most people knew Jason Cantrell as the mayor's husband or as a longtime attorney, City Council member Oliver Thomas knew him as a friend.
Jason was part of our men's group over the last couple of years, guys that would get together, play cards, play dominoes, talk trash. He was a highly respected and valuable member of our group.
Seems like a great guy, right? And if it wasn't true, then maybe people wouldn't be talking about it. Well, you know what? Let's look at some of the comments of that video. Look at what this person's saying. Sad music! She can go slang that thing without the police officers there. Cop wife divorced him. That's a good thing. She loves messing around with the married men's. No respect or no prayers or condolences for her or the husband. Why is this news? This other guy says she put him through pure hell. Before he died, she killed that man. He was so young. She can second line now and be a gold digger, not a fan of the Cantrell family. Another person says, well, he married a street tramp. What do you expect? 55 years old, died so young. Rail 791 says, now she can sling that milkshake in peace. Justice Beaver says, just think about the pain and embarrassment he endured before he died. Another person says she embarrassed that man to death, literally. Jay Stud says, I bet she had him murdered so she can continue her affair in peace. She's a vile, evil woman. That doesn't seem like a person that people have a lot of faith in, but let's continue. Now, the mayor also has allegations of using the city's money for her own good. And she even clapped back at the city about the fact that she wasn't going to pay it back. Here's her clapping back at folks right now.
All expenses incurred doing business on behalf of the city of New Orleans will not be reimbursed to the city of New Orleans. One thing is clear, I do my job. I do my job. I do my job. I do my job.
But then here's her apologizing for that clapback.
As it relates to the thorough review of our policy by the CAO and the law department and keeping it much on that policy, not embedding anything relative to the emergency declaration, I am, in fact, deemed an employee of the city of New Orleans.
And not only that, don't forget, she spent $15,000 for him so he can put the clapping sounds. Yep, that's the kind of mayor she is. But guess what? Wanna know what else she did? A juvenile went around strong-arming and robbing people in the city of New Orleans. But guess what the mayor did? She showed up in support of that young man in his sentencing.
Well, the victims of a carjacking are speaking tonight after Mayor Cantrell appeared at the juvenile offender's sentencing. Good evening, I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Devin Bartolotta. After a press conference yesterday where the mayor said she loves the victims, they say they're even angrier than before. And they say 24 hours later, they still haven't heard from her.
Eleanor Tabone sat down with them in tonight's top story.
It's just, I just wanted to scream at the TV and be like, what about us?
When we first spoke to Stephanie Udo, she asked us to protect her identity.
She made us feel like victims all over again.
The family asked me to support this young person.
A week in a firestorm of controversy later, the mayor's response encouraged her to show people who she is.
That someone that can't take accountability of their actions is the one that's leading our city.
Was able to touch them and show them some level of not only concern, but a level of love.
She started off by saying she showed us a lot of love, and that was very triggering for me, given the fact that love is a very heavy word.
Stephanie says she's the one the mayor spoke to.
It was kind of like a, God bless you. It was a stroke.
I did say, God bless you. That means something to me. Maybe not to you, but it means something to me. And not only touching them on the shoulder, but I rubbed them.
What? What the fuck? And that's right. She was completely unaccountable. And see, that's the same thing here. Because Tiffany Henyard also is a person that, hired some man who was a registered sex offender. And remember what happened there?
Residents of South Suburban Dalton reacting to a Fox 32 investigation that found a new village employee with a dangerous criminal past.
He is a registered child offender, and he's now been hired by the village to go into people's homes and businesses.
Now, furious village trustees are taking steps to curb the mayor's power. Fox 32's Dane Placco broke the story, and he has the latest from Dalton.
What is the situation involving your background?
My background, the childhood background, over 30 years ago.
46-year-old Lavelle Redmond wasn't happy to see us when we encountered him today behind Dalton Village Hall. But listen again to the person on the phone telling him to stop talking.
30 years ago.
You see, guys, there's never really any accountability for these mayors in these cities, especially the ones that, in my opinion, are sisters. And I'm not saying that this is the case for all of them, but we've seen enough to understand that, some of the stuff just isn't right. And the reality is that, I'm gonna say this is gonna be controversial. A lot of these ladies, when they disrespect people, they are disrespecting other sisters, like Fannie Willis and her little affair that she's having. Well, the ex-wife of Mr. Nathan there is saying the same thing about Fannie Willis that the woman is saying about Latoya Cantrell. You see, these ladies don't care about the other sisters and the husbands that they're dealing with. They don't care. Whatever that makes them happy. And that's the situation that I'm looking at. Unfortunately, the people who seem to be hurt the most when these ladies are coming to power are sisters in the black community themselves. And it's amazing because when they were running for office and those black women were voting for them, they wasn't talking like they're talking now once they get the power. It certainly wasn't Tiffany Henyard, who in my opinion, I believe is also a single mom. But you know what? I'm pretty sure she ran on the campaign of, you know what, we got to support black women. We got to support the black community. But no, you don't see that. It's all about supporting them. Using taxpayers' dollars to do whatever they want, using the power base to do whatever they want to give you what? Zero accountability. They always have excuses for why they can't do something right. All right. This is what you're seeing in these mayors that I've been discussing. Again, this is not all black politicians, but what you're seeing today is exactly what I've been warning folks about. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.